MotorWeek, television's original automotive magazine.
Volvo decided to get involved with a historic racing series because it was a really interesting way to get the Volvo name around people who really enjoy cars. There are many ways to do that. I mean, we could have a contemporary racing series. We could enter cars in contemporary racing events. But Volvo's not really about racing. We're about families and about people who like cars.
And out of that philosophy has grown the Volvo Historic Series for pre-1973 type race cars. Now, it's not just for old Volvos, although there are plenty of them on track. And it's not for the high-dollar Ferraris and GT40s of the golden past. No, the idea here is to bring back or recreate the cars that the amateurs raced 25 or 30 years ago. You know, the MGs, Spitfires, Mustangs, and yes, Volvos that used to make up the ranks of Weekend Sports Car Club of America races. Now, to have a race series, you don't just offer up some money, although that's a good place to start. No, you need a sanctioning body, preferably one as experienced as the northern New Jersey region of the SCCA.
At first we thought it was just for Volvo cars, and in actuality it was going to be for any make of car with a historical racing background. So we formed some rules. We formed a point system for a year-end point total. Volvo came to us and said, we will give you a pace car for the series as well as some financial support. So we put everything together, we had it approved by Denver, and less than a year later, here we are at Lime Rock, and we've got 24 cars entered in a race. We never thought it was going to have the success. Everybody is pleased to death with it. And there are 24 guys racing today that weren't racing last year.
Make that 23 guys and one very quick gal.
They tease me a lot. I'm the only female there, and when they talk about the boys, okay, they excuse themselves. So the camaradade's there. Everybody will help everybody else out. Last time there was a lot of help with people that broke. Everybody tried to help everybody else still race. And that's how it used to be. And I think that's come back also with this series.
One of the race teams that Pat and her husband Bob Alsbach assisted one week was Singhaus Motorsports, with MotorWeek's art director, Reggie Blackstone, handling the crew chief duties. Bob, Reggie, and others soon had us back on track. Now, I played team owner, sort of a Roger Penske, while old friend Martin Peters was my Mark Donahue. Now, wouldn't you know it, Martin is 3 seconds a lap faster than I am in my own car.
The cars all looked the way they did when they were raced in 1973, with the exception of the current day safety features. If someone's building a new historic car, it has to conform with a full roll cage and what the GCR states for 1997 rules.
The only other concession we made to the 1990s was noise. To avoid the ire of Lime Rock's neighbors, many teams replaced their 1960-style open exhaust with modern racing mufflers. Our team used Borla XR1 racing mufflers to successfully stay under the noise limits.
Of course, the success of a racing series, especially a vintage racing series, can be pretty much gauged by the enthusiasm of the participants.
It's been a big surprise to everybody. The times are competitive, and the racing's been very close, because they didn't want us to go around in a parade lap, and they told us to go out there and race.
Historic racing is a great way to get people who really appreciate cars to think about Volvo. We're very enthusiastic. We think the future for this series is terrific, and we'll definitely be back next year.
Rain tire.
This just proves that you don't have to win races, other people lose them.
Well, you're very, very modest, but my hat's off to you nonetheless. We're going to move on now to Group G. This is the Coca-Cola Cup, and the guy who's going to jump out into the lead in the 72 Datsun 240Z is Jim Reedy. Dwayne Matika in the Volvo is his challenger. That's a 62 Volvo P1800. And I have no idea, but on paper it looks like a pretty even match. They're both red.
And very nice little cars, both of nicely balanced, and the Volvo did a lot. Whoops.
Matika in trouble is going to loop it into the tire wall. and looked like he hit pretty hard, but I tell you what, those tire barriers are very effective. This is just what track loses the back, right?
Well, it's also that strong Swedish steel, Dave, that probably holds up well.
Ah, there you go. That's the explanation. He just got the power down a little too early, turned it around, but as you can see, virtually no damage to the Swedish-made entry as he rejoins the competition here well downfield. The guy that impresses us in this one is the black 62, Brian Donovan. This is a 62 Jaguar XKE. He had trouble getting the car started from the pit lane, and has moved into the top 5. Another impressive drive from the back.
Brian is a leading restorer and racer of these Jaguars. He always brings a whole trailer load of them to the racetrack and drives them very, very well. And is doing a fine job here in the rain in a high-powered and heavy car, but thankfully with 3 windshield wipers.
Yeah, I like the triple wiper treatment. Coming down to turn, oh, he's in trouble. He's into turn 1 hot. Didn't want to turn it in for fear of looping it, and will take the access road, the escape road, and give back a lot of the hard-earned positions that he had claimed coming from the back with a great drive through the rain. So a little extra aggression fails to pay off there. Jim Reedy is going to lead this baby flag to flag. A nice run for the Datsun 240Z. Matika, I think, deserves a call for having come back from his spin to finish in the top 5. But this one belongs to Jim Reedy over Brian Donovan, Cassingham, Shanahan, and Matika, rounding out your top 5.